My brain is doing something fun today.
Apparently. Welcome to Stargazing, a Stargate gazing podcast. I'm your host, Mary.
And I'm your other host, Kathy.
And each week we review an episode of Stargate alternating between SG1 and Atlantis. Hello.
How's it going?
Okay, how are you?
Okay, also.
Excellent.
How's life?
Cold.
Yes.
I don't like it. I don't like how cold it is, and I'm sick of winter, and I hate this.
It's very cold. Even for those of us who like it.
For anyone wondering. You like 0 degree weather?
No, I like cold weather, but this is a little bit much, especially because it's been cold forever.
I thought you said except for those of us who like it. I was like, seriously, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Even for those.
I know that you like cold weather, but yeah, this is excessive. 0 degrees Fahrenheit. I did actually look it up for our Celsius friends, and that is negative 18 degrees, rounded a bit.
Woo!
Which is, yeah, that's how chilly it's been here. Although it was a balmy 15 degrees earlier, which is negative 9 degrees Celsius. So
yet the wind.
Heat wave, but now it's actually creeping back down again, and the wind has been insane.
Yes. I looked outside this morning to see if I had to go move any snow, and I was like, no. The sidewalk's fine, so I'm going to leave whatever else is out there. I don't care. It's too cold.
Jeff had to move the snow because I went out somewhere and skidded all the way down our hilly driveway.
Ooh.
And I told Jeff, I hate to say it, but all your snow clearing from yesterday is gone. So if I am to get back up the driveway, please go back out again before I come home.
That's very annoying.
Yeah, it was very annoying for both of us. I felt bad asking him to do that. I could have done it myself, but I was going to be gone for like 2 hours, and it was going to be, starting to get dark by the time I got home, which was just a little while ago.
Right.
I guess it's not that dark, but still would have been annoying to try to get done after I got here. So.
Yes, especially because we have to do this.
Right.
Woo.
Exactly. That would have just delayed this even more. So thank you, Greffrey.
Yes, thank you.
Greffrey is helpful.
Very.
Thank you. You love me. You really love me.
How are you aside from cold?
Okay. I don't know. Not a lot going on. Not this weekend anyway, because I was like, no, I'm just not doing anything.
Yeah. Nope. Thought about it, had tentative plans with a friend, and then we both kind of came to the conclusion that it's too cold to do anything. I did go to another person's house for an Irish music session thing, but that was the only thing I ventured out of the house to do.
Yeah. I think that's more than enough. You've done enough.
Yeah, even that, I didn't really want to deal with the drive, but my desire to go to the thing was greater than my desire to not get in my car. So I did suck it up.
I have DVDs due back at the library that were due yesterday, but they closed yesterday because they thought weather would be terrible. So I did not return them.
I mean, the wind was very awful.
It was. I think at the time they were predicting more slippery snowness. I don't know. But
yeah, I think they were predicting like 2 to 4 inches, but that didn't happen.
So
10 centimeters.
I might go out
5 to 10 centimeters.
You and your metric system, Mary. God.
Well, A, science, I like metric, and B, we have many non-US people that listen to this show. And we're the only dumb country that uses imperial.
It's true, we are very dumb.
America, fuck yeah.
Yes.
For
quite
many reasons.
Many reasons. This is not the only reason. There are many other reasons why we are also dumb.
It's true. But I might go later and put those in the book drop so that they can be counted, hopefully, as returned on time.
Hopefully so. Hopefully so.
They charge late fees on them.
I didn't think libraries did that anymore.
It might be because it's DVDs and not just like books. I don't know.
Oh, weird.
And I'm also very spoiled because the place I work, I can check things out for a very long time. And this, they're like, you have them for a week. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, that's very short.
That's so much pressure to watch a movie in a week.
Yes, so much pressure a week. You might not have the time.
Well, I definitely have a thing where once something is here and I have to do it, I then resist doing it. Even if it's something fun, like watching a movie.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I understand that too, because I am the same way.
That's why, like, Netflix DVD was a fail for me for a long time, because I would just keep the DVDs forever and never watch them.
Yeah, I don't know what that is all about if I have a thing I have to do, but I feel like I have to do it. Yeah, that kills all of my desire to actually do it.
It's so weird.
It's like practicing my violin. I like playing. I like practicing. But because I feel like I have to practice, I never actually want to practice.
Yep.
And so I will procrastinate and then go days without practicing. And then I will feel bad when I have to go and play somewhere and I haven't practiced.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pride fucking with you.
So that's fun. That's fun for us.
Yeah. Go us
Yes.
at being bad at
Yep.
life. None of this has anything to do with today's episode, and I do not have a good segue. So,
Well, I would say they're bad at life, but they are definitely bad at first contact today.
oh, they're very bad at first contact. Yes, absolutely. This went very badly for them.
And I feel like it didn't need to.
It really didn't, but they just did such a terrible job with it.
They did.
Yep. Yep. This was something that, I guess another example of wanting to do something and wanting to do it well, but just not being able to get yourself to do it correctly. I don't know. Not quite the same.
No.
But that's all I got. What is this episode that we are talking about today?
This is Stargate SG1, Season 10, Episode 16, Bad Guys.
You are bad guy, but this does not mean you're bad guy.
It starts with the briefest of recaps. Vala used to know Athena back when she was still being driven by a hagfish. They were looking for the Clava Thesaria Infinitas together, but things didn't go well, especially for Athena. End recap.
Yeah, and they'll never find it, apparently.
Nope.
Or if they do, they gotta find it soon, because we're running out of episodes very quickly.
We sure are. Rapidly approaching. It'll be sometime in April that we record our last one of this, which is
amazing.
Weird.
Yeah.
We've been talking about Stargate for 5 years?
Yeah.
5.5 years?
Yeah.
By the time we get to that, it'll be weird to not have any SG1 left. We'll still have plenty of Atlantis, but
It's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe too much Atlantis even.
It could be too much Atlantis. We will see how it goes.
Indeed.
We start in the briefing room. With SG 80%, Sam is absent this entire episode.
Boo.
I read this was to make up for her being in Atlantis in the episode with Rodney's sister. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I read. Daniel's talking about the Maltese Falcon MacGuffin Clava Thesaura whatever thing. Key to infinite treasure. It really is the most MacGuffin thing.
Treasured balaclava.
Yeah.
They don't even actually say what it really is, do they?
No,
it really
they're
is
like,
just
it's supposed
a
to
pure
be
MacGuffin.
Treasure, wealth, and weapons. That's
Let's
it.
stop looking for a weapon for a while and look for some mystery treasure instead.
Yeah. Mitchell isn't sure they should find it, and Daniel's like, what, do we just leave it for someone else to find? And Daniel, no one's found it so far, so why do you think all of a sudden somebody's gonna find it?
Exactly.
He's like, because we're running out of episodes, guys.
Seriously. Get your act together. Keep your eye on the target. We need to find the stupid weapon before the end of the series, Daniel.
Teal'c asks Daniel, didn't you say this was a hoax? And Daniel says, yes, but actually all the research Athena did is making me rethink things. And he actually found a gate address for them to check out. They've already sent a map there even, and he says that the images are interesting, so he shows them some pictures of hieroglyphs. They don't make any sense, he says. Vala thinks it might be a code. It doesn't matter at all for this episode. It's not a code. Landry's like, cool, well, let's go check this out. Teal'c's like, maybe we wait for Sam to come back because she's super smart and we love her. And everyone else is like, nah, she's fine. She's talking about the alternate reality she experienced. The president's having a hard time understanding how he couldn't be president in all realities. So Sam's got to spend like 1,000 years talking to him about that. So they're going to go without her. They gate into this planet. They start looking around. It looks vaguely Egyptian-y. like many of our Goa'uld sets of the past. Weren't we just talking about how we missed those?
We were, and I
sets?
thought that it was funny that right after we had that conversation, we had this very Egyptian-themed display in this museum that was the focus of the entire episode.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, hey, they listened to me.
Mitchell and Teal'c fan out a bit and find things aren't maybe what they seem. It actually looks more like they're in, like, corridors in a building you'd find on Earth, in fact. And that there are display cases full of Goa'uld artifacts. So, they're not actually in a pyramid, it turns out.
They are not.
They're in a museum, Mitchell tells Teal'c. And then Teal'c asks, do you hear music, Colonel Mitchell? So they follow the sounds of music and discover there's a whole freaking party happening in a different room of this museum. So they're like, oh crap, we have to get out of there right now. Vala is like, we haven't even started doing anything, but Teal'c tells everyone it's not a tomb.
It's a babe.
It's a what?
Babe.
A babe?
It's not a tumor, it's a baby. But
yes.
you said it's not a tomb, it's a baby. When you have to explain your own jokes, it's very sad.
I'm sorry. I'm just dumb.
Yep.
Yeah. Daniel's like, well, that explains why the hieroglyphs don't make any sense. So we gotta go. Vala is confused. She really wants to go to this party, but Mitchell explains that in this situation where people are not of their standard old-timey medieval village level of technology, they do first contact in a different way, where they're not supposed to just show up there and start talking to people.
Why is it okay to... Why? Why is there a difference?
I don't know, but there is.
How is walking into a village with guns better than walking into a party with guns?
I don't know. But it seems to be. Maybe it's because it's more open and they actually have escape routes.
I guess.
So they're like, cool, all right, let's get the hell out of here, and then we'll try to make first contact the way we like to, through the MALP, not through direct in-person communication. But there's a problem. When Mitchell goes to dial the DHD, it turns out it's not actually a DHD, it's a replica DHD. It has no power and no real buttons, and they cannot dial out.
It's a fake.
Uh-oh.
It's a pretty good replica.
Yeah. This is where my main problem with this episode lies. Does their MALP not have a way of determining whether the DHD has power before they go through a Stargate? And has this never come up before?
You would think that it should be something that it can do by checking maybe for like electrical signals or seeing if there is any power source, but
no.
I guess they haven't. And also, did they send a MALP through this time
They
first?
said they did.
Did they? Okay. How did nobody in the museum notice the MALP coming through then is my second part of that question. I assumed that they hadn't because it would have been obvious if a MALP came through, seeing as this is a staffed museum.
Maybe this is like a 3-day long party and they have had the museum closed this whole time.
Yeah, I guess. Right? Because they don't normally bring the MALP back after they've sent it through. It's typically still there when they send the team through. So just nobody noticed.
Random ass MALP just shows up and they're like, whatever, must be part of the display. La, la,
So
la, la.
weird. It's just so weird.
But credits.
Yes, finally credits. Yes. After credits, picks right back up where they left off. Mitchell assumes that they must have found a DHD somewhere if they found the gate, right? Right? But then Daniel reminds Mitchell that, well, they didn't. They found them in different places. So these people might not have found that. Actually, we never even found a DHD at all. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's why they have the computer system.
Was there one in Antarctica? With the Antarctic
I think there might
gate?
have been one at... Yeah, I think there was one in Antarctica at that gate.
Yeah.
But there wasn't one with the one that they found in Egypt, which is why they had the computer powering it. And then by the time that they found the DHD in Antarctica, I guess no point in changing the system.
I would guess not, yeah.
Point. Well, Mitchell does point out, though, that they knew enough to build a pretty convincing replica, so they must have one somewhere. But Daniel thinks maybe they just found some drawings of it or something. Those would have to be some pretty detailed drawings.
Right?
Yeah. So they're stuck. That seems bad. Vala, though, does rightfully point out that when they don't manage to check in, Landry's going to come looking for them. He's going to open up the gate, and then they can just ask him to send through an aqua generator. Everyone else looks around like, yeah. Daniel specifically says, yeah, we knew that. I thought that first. When I said we're stuck, yeah, I just meant until then. Daniel does also mention the possibility of dialing the gate manually, so I don't know what everybody was so upset about then in this case, but here we are. So the check-in isn't going to be until about 5.5 hours, as we just said, which means that Vala and Muscles can go and check out the party. She is delighted, but Mitchell's not on board with that plan. He says, nope, they're still not going to be doing this whole first contact thing because of all of the reasons that he has specified before. But then, all of a sudden, some party goers come crashing in, not right to where everybody is standing, but pretty close by, and she's making out with some guy, and this is not her guy, this is someone else's guy, that she wants him to not tell Silvana, or whoever that is, that they're making out here.
They're like sisters.
They're like sisters. Whoever Silvana is like a sister to this person, who I don't think we actually ever get a name for.
Screaming lady?
She screamed a lot, yes. The two of them do notice all of a sudden when they look over that towards the end of this dark corridor that they are in, the room is lit up and there's a bunch of people with guns. Mitchell tries to tell them that there's nothing to be alarmed about, but that's when Screaming Lady begins screaming her very, very annoying and repetitive scream, and they run out of the room. She also had a weird dress on that looked kind of like a wedding dress that was cut off above the knee, though. It was like big and frilly like a wedding dress, but short.
I didn't notice that.
It annoyed me because I thought it was dumb looking.
I was too distracted by her screams.
Yeah, it was. She screamed a lot, and it was annoying. Mitchell and Teal'c go after the Screaming Lady. Daniel makes Vala stay behind, and she's insulted that they get to go, and she doesn't get to go to the party. So everybody runs into the room where the party is happening, and everybody does notice that a bunch of people just ran in the room, two of whom were holding guns. And one lady also starts screaming and tells everyone that they must be rebels.
You rebel scum.
I thought it was the same screaming woman.
This has it credited as Silvana instead of the other lady.
Interesting.
I thought it was the same woman also, but maybe not.
Too much screaming.
Too much screaming. There are some people there that were apparently armed guards at this party, which seemed a little bit weird to me to have armed guards at a museum, but I don't know how museum security works. Anyway, they pull out their weapons, and then there's a firefight. People start running, and lots of shooting happens. Museum alarms go off. There are gates that come crashing down, so that means nobody's going to get out of here because the alarm was tripped, and now they're all stuck. At one point, somebody has Mitchell and Teal'c cornered. Mitchell shoots the guy in the leg, so he collapses to the ground. And basically, that's about it. They manage to take down the shooters, but they do not actually kill anybody. So they get people tied up, and then they've got the one injured guy that they need to take care of. We get a quick flash of somebody that looks like a security guard watching from above. He has a gun, small handgun, but he does not join in the shooting party here. He just sneaks off into the shadows somewhere. Mitchell tells everybody to get on the ground at this point, the people that are already on the ground, and also the other people that are not on the ground. And then the lady starts screaming under the table again, and when we had to do the active shooter training, as we do almost every year now, which is angry and making and sad at my job, you definitely are not wanting to hide and scream in the whole run, hide, fight scenario.
No.
The whole point of the hiding is to not make noise and be found, but apparently she hasn't had those trainings. So they tell them to get out from under the table, and now they've got everybody gathered on the floor here in what had been a party room and is now a prisoner room. And Mitchell does tell her to stop screaming because it is very annoying. Daniel and Vala come running in. I wanted to know why it took them so long to get there. The firefight had been going on for quite a while at this point. And they're like, what the hell happened? Mitchell says it was just a little bit of an understanding. and that they all thought we were rebels. Vala rightfully points out that it would have been easier to just pose as party guests, as she had initially suggested. Daniel asks what it means to be rebels here, but Mitchell doesn't know. He, of course, didn't get any chance to ask questions. I don't understand why Vala didn't know why the doors were sealed, because the alarm went off. Wouldn't they have heard the alarm wherever they were?
Yeah, because I was thinking the alarm is the only excuse they have for not running in sooner, is that they waited till it went off.
But it's been going off for a while, so yeah, it made no sense why it took them so long to get here. They point out that the alarm must have triggered a lockdown, as though we couldn't already figure that out for ourselves. Suddenly, one of the guys on the floor stands up and wants to talk to Mitchell. Mitchell tells him not to stand up because Mitchell almost shot him when he got up. But he just wants to talk. He wants them to let all of the other people go. He knows that he's the one that they want. Mitchell says, "No, you're not. We don't even know who you are," basically. Apparently, there were other chancellors and a viceroy in there that were all able to escape before the lockdown happened. So he says he's all that's left. Keep him and free everybody else.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them.
It sounds like they have a lot of dealings with whoever the rebels are supposed to be. Daniel says that they are not rebels. They're just explorers. And that they're here from another planet. He tells them about the whole gate thing. And, of course, nobody really seems to believe him. And the Chancellor seems to be pretty convinced that they're still just there to hurt people and just there for whatever rebel cause they're supposedly there for. And then somebody gets on the radio. Some random person manages to call through on the radio. His name is Lourdes Melee. And he's the council's security detail, so I guess he's going to be the one that is doing the negotiation here. Or at least supposedly. One of the people sitting on the ground is the one who has that radio, so Daniel has him hand it over. And then they have a conversation that I'm going to let Kathy take over, because I feel like I've been talking for quite a while and need a break.
It's been a long one.
It has.
So they have a chat. Lourdes tells Daniel they have a senior negotiator, and they're going to work with him, with Daniel and team, to get them everything they need and get everyone out of there safely. It's gonna be great.
Woo.
Daniel's like, "We don't need anything," and this guy's like, "What?" So he tries to explain that they're not rebels, and this guy's like, "Okay, then let everyone go." And Daniel turns to the rest of SG 80% and is like, "Sounds like a good idea to me." And Vala's like, "That's a terrible idea. They're gonna kill us if we let everyone go. They don't believe anything you're saying. We shot one of their guards. We have hostages." Mitchell agrees.
They didn't kill him.
I know. God.
You just can't go around killing people.
Why?
What is he complaining
And
about?
all those people fired first.
Yeah, seriously.
Daniel's frustrated. He's like, "This isn't how you make first contact." But this is what they have to deal with. Mitchell's like, "We just gotta stall for 5.5 hours, and then we can get out of here." Teal'c and Vala all agree. They're all in agreement. So Daniel's like, "All right. This could be really dangerous, though, and we don't know what's gonna happen. 6 hours could be a long time." But Mitchell's like, "We have no choice." So Daniel gets back on the radio and tells Lourdes, "Nah, can't free them yet. But one of your people has been injured, so maybe send a medical team and get him out of there. We're cool with that." Lourdes is like, "You sealed off the museum. How do we get in?" And Daniel should have been like, "Yo, that's not my problem." But he doesn't say anything. And next we see they are cutting open the bars that came down to presumably get to the shot guard out. But it turns out these are some sneaky people.
So sneaky.
They didn't just bring in medics to get this guy out. They brought armed men in to try to take control of the situation.
Shocking.
And it does not go well for them. They do zap Daniel. He's unconscious, but the rest of SG1 gets them in return. Mitchell's pretty cranky about this. He gets on the radio and asks, "What is wrong with these people? Are you out of your minds or just stupid? Do you know anything about hostage negotiations?" And then we see that the initial guy they were talking to has been replaced by one Ron Canada, Quartus, as he is known in this, who is now in charge.
I never knew that guy's name was Ron Canada.
Yeah.
But I recognized him because he's in tons of stuff.
Yes, he's in many, many things. And it's a good name. I like his name.
It is.
Ron Canada.
Yep. It's a fun name.
He was not born in Canada, but...
It's not quite as good as Ron Burgundy, but I'll allow it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good.
Quartos promises now that he's in charge, things will be different, and my concern is getting everyone out safely, and Mitchell's like, that's what the other dude said, and look where it got us. Mitchell tells him not to try any more stupid stunts, and they don't want to hurt anyone. Quartos is like, cool, well, if you do change your mind about hurting people, just so you know, you are completely surrounded and you're not getting out of here, so keep that in mind, friend.
Daniel finally starts waking up.
Who shot me?
And he wants to know what he missed. Mitchell tells him that they've got the negotiator. The negotiator wants to know what their demands are. Mitchell suggests a jet to Algeria, and Vala suggests a real DHD, which is a pretty good suggestion. But Daniel says that those kinds of demands don't make any sense. Those aren't things that the rebels would actually say. So Cicero...
Lipschitz.
Have we met him before?
I think we only saw him in the background in one shot.
Okay. As they're discussing this, they're interrupted by someone sitting on the floor. He wants to know if they really came through the ring. Daniel says they did, and this guy is delighted. He knew it was a portal to other worlds, and he's been telling people that for years, but nobody listens to him, and he's basically a laughingstock in in his profession because of his beliefs about this thing being a portal. And Vala says that this guy and Daniel are kindred spirits. Cicero recommends that they ask for some imprisoned compatriots because that's what people would generally do in these situations. That is pretty much what the rebels always want. He tells them his name is Cicero and he is a researcher at the museum. So that's why he knows so much about the ring. Now that they know that they have this person here that knows so much about the ring, David, no idea where that came from.
Ew, no, David.
Daniel asks if they found a device nearby called a DHD. They did, but it was apparently only in fragments. The one in the pyramid room, as he calls it, was a reconstruction from diagrams. So they're out of luck on that one. Vala says maybe one of the fragments is the power source, though, so that could be helpful, potentially. Mitchell tells Cicero to stand up, and they're going to go and check out his lab. Before they go, Daniel wants a primer on the rebels, because I guess, shouldn't he be the one going? But he's not going to be the one going. He's going to stay behind and talk to the negotiator while everybody else goes with Cicero.
That's kind of a weird choice.
It really is. I feel like it should be Mitchell staying and Daniel going to talk to the guy about the DHD.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah, interesting.
Yep.
So next we see that Daniel has gotten some information from Cicero because he talks to Quartus on the radio with his demands. After other rebels are freed, they want the Viceroy to call a referendum dissolving his government, and then they want to make a public statement on the Gaynord transmitters. And Quartus is like, no, this isn't going to happen. If you knew anything, you would know that the Viceroy would rather sacrifice hostages than bow to terrorists and submit to your demands. And Daniel's like, cool, I had some great information. Thanks, Cicero. So Daniel asks Quartus, what about the rebels? And Quartus is like, well, it's going to take time. And Daniel's like, that's amazing. Great. Take all the time you need. We're just going to chill. It's going to be fine. No rush. And Quartus is like, maybe your hostages want you to rush. And Daniel's like, they're fine. We're not going to hurt them. And Teal'c looks at him like, shut up. So Daniel's like, unless you get cute, in which case there's going to be killing and whatnot. So Daniel was not the right person for this, but here we are.
He sure wasn't. Didn't make any sense. Nope. Still doesn't make any sense.
But Quartus is like, okay, then I'll see what I can do. Then Lourdes reports to Quartus that they have a man on another channel who claims to be inside the museum and that he's a security guard and he wants to talk to Quartus. This is the guy we got a quick look at during the firefight. I think he was observing, or the aftermath of the firefight.
Yeah, it was the guy from the balcony.
Yes. He introduces himself as Jam and that he's night guard second class.
Councilman Jam, what are you doing in my bathroom?
He missed out on the initial attack because he was off doing his rounds. And Quartus is like, that's fine. If you had engaged them, things would have gone poorly anyway, so. And then this guy is like, I have always wanted to serve on the council guard, but, I made some youthful indiscretions and couldn't get on. And I've been on a guard in this museum for 10 years, and I know this like the back of my hand. And Quartus is like, that's nice. We have schematics, so calm down. But Jam's not done. He's like, I can be your eyes and ears. And Quartus is like, no, you know what you can do is get off this radio, go hide somewhere, and wait for this to all be over.
Attention, whoever you are, this channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
No fucking shit, lady! Do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
And Jam's like, oh, I guess, okay. They get off the radio, and he just kind of has a moment where he is like, I've just been told something I don't want to hear. So I'm going to turn it around and be like, our radios were probably compromised. He really wants me to do something, but he couldn't say it in case the rebels hear. At this moment, I did think this man thinks he's in Die Hard, which I'm glad they actually say out loud later.
Yes, it was really funny. It reminded me of kind of a cross between Paul Blart Mall Cop and a really inept John from Die Hard. But also, I kept thinking that they were saying jam instead of jam, and that just kept reminding me of the guy from Parks and Rec.
Jam.
He's the town council guy.
Oh my God, yes. Okay, yes, I got
Leslie Knope a hard time.
Yes, okay. Yes, I gotcha. I see him.
Yep.
He's in my head now.
You just got jammed.
Next, we are in Cicero's lab. It looks similar to what you would think Daniel's lab would look like if it was shaped slightly differently, I suppose. He says that the Viceroy's attempt to separate the governing council from the circle of heavens is controversial, but most people are on his side. So apparently it has got a religious value to these people of some sort, and there is a radical religious sect that want to worship it, basically. And Cicero says that those rebels are getting stronger every day, so they couldn't have possibly picked a worse time to be mistaken for those rebels. They've had a bunch of success lately against council members, and things have been getting very bloody lately, so all of that is bad. Mitchell asks Vala if she's found anything, because she's been the one searching around. She's got about as much knowledge, probably more, than Daniel because of her time as Katesh. But Vala is not having any luck here. Cicero tells them that one of his colleagues has an archive across the building. Maybe that's where the pieces are being stored, so that's where they're going to head next.
Down in the party room, some of the hostages are having words with one another. The screaming woman and her friend, who's like a sister, are arguing over the guy sitting between them. The friend starts to physically attack the screaming woman at one point, and Daniel loses his shit.
Yes.
And comes over and screams at them, "What the hell are you doing? Stop it."
What the hell are you doing? Stop it!
It was pretty amusing.
And they're fighting back and forth, and Daniel's like, "Shut up, you're hostages. Start acting like the life and death situation this is." And the woman's like, "You're not rebels. Come on, we all heard you." Daniel doesn't care though. We still are heavily armed. Just knock it off. It was an amusing scene. I was reading that Michael Shanks didn't like this episode particularly because he felt this scene was very out of character for Daniel.
I thought this was a particularly good Daniel episode, so that's interesting.
Yeah, and I think it might be that I hated that screaming woman a lot, so I was pretty happy for Daniel to yell at them.
And my assumption was just that she was getting on everyone else's nerves, just like she was getting on my nerves while I was watching it.
Apparently, at some point, he wrote a blog post about it, and they had cut a scene that would have more sense for Daniel to lose his cool like that. But I was like, I don't know, it worked for me, so.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yep. In some hallway somewhere, Cicero, Mitchell, and Vala are heading to that guy's office, presumably, and they're telling him a bit more about what they know about the gate and how it works, being an artificial stable wormhole, which he finds to be fascinating.
This new learning amazes me, Sir Bedivere.
And he's also really interested to learn that there's bunches of people in this galaxy besides on their planet, as well as in at least one other galaxy that they're aware of. So he finds all of this to just be very great news. Mitchell asks, by the way, when you found that gate, were there any advanced alien weapons in there by any chance? But no, there were not. But then, all of a sudden, Vala sees something very interesting in front of her. And that something interesting is a bomb. It is in a case, of course, and it is in a chest kind of thing behind some glass in a display case. She says that it's in pretty good shape, and if it is real and the Naquita core is intact, then probably I would assume that she was going to finish that statement with it could power the gate, although she doesn't actually finish that. Instead, she asks if these are connected to the security system, and Cicero says yes. Can only access it with a security card, and he does not actually have one for these cases over here, apparently. I was wondering why they cared about it being hooked up to security, because like they're already in lockdown.
Yeah, I don't know.
Everybody already knows that they're there, assuming that they're there to do bad things. Like, would it really have made a difference if they just also triggered the alarm here, as well as the alarm they've already triggered? But here we are.
Yeah.
But Vala says that she's one of the best thieves in 2 galaxies, so she's going to do her best to try to get in there. They managed to find a glass cutter for her from somewhere, somehow, and so they cut a big hole in the glass.
My impression was she had all of this equipment with her.
That would be funny. That makes sense. That's in character.
Yeah.
Excellent. Then there is a wire that is connected to the chest that the bomb is sitting in, so she disconnects that. And, Mitchell actually did say you just happen to carry all of that around with you. And she's like, yeah, you always need to be prepared to liberate treasure. She was examining the box looking for a pressure switch of some sort, which she did found and was supposedly bypassing by cutting yet another wire. And then finally you reach in. That's the last step, she says. But apparently something went wrong somewhere because all of a sudden metal bars come down over the case.
Oops.
So now they have to remove that treasure from a sealed metal enclosure, which is a different story. Mitchell says that she must have rushed it, but she says that she did not. Mitchell accuses her of showing off and rushing it.
It's not my fault!
But Vala just says, no, it was just a super impressive alien security system. I've never seen anything like this before. It's impressive. So Mitchell asks how they get one of those security cards, the extra special security cards, when all of a sudden JM comes up and says that you don't. Now throw your guns on the floor. He, of course, has his weapon drawn. So everybody puts down their weapons, all of their weapons, even the little guns that they've got on their legs, as JM has specified. Then he tells Cicero to not just stand there. Cicero didn't know what he meant. So apparently JM wanted Cicero to pick up all of their guns. So he's like, oh, right. Yeah. So he does. And he tells JM, yeah, they totally tried to get me to give them my key card and I didn't. JM tells Mitchell to toss over his radio. So Mitchell does that also. I guess this works slightly different than the radios that JM is used to because Mitchell has to tell him how to use it. Then he gets on the radio and says, murderous rebels, come in, please. I really liked Daniel's response. This scene I thought was extra amusing for Daniel. Daniel gets on the radio and says, speaking. JM tells him that he's got their 2 friends and that he's going to kill them. As JM continues to go on, Daniel eventually just indignantly asks, who's calling?
Who's calling?
JM says that he's of no importance, but Daniel doesn't agree with that. This is when Mitchell tells Daniel over the radio that they've got themselves a bit of a John McClane here. Somehow Daniel didn't know who that was, but I thought it was hilarious, though, that Teal'c is just casually walking by behind Daniel and says, Die Hard.
Teal'c, of course, would have seen Die Hard.
Of course he would have. But the whole, just casually walking by Daniel as he says it. I don't know why that extra cracked me up. So Mitchell does clarify that the security guard got the drop on them, and he thinks that this guy probably wants to make a trade. Daniel asks, how do you want to play this? But Mitchell says, it's not really particularly fair for them to just give us you and have to free all of those hostages. Wouldn't you agree with that? So I guess that gave Daniel as much information as he needed to know about how serious to take this guy. Yeah. Mitchell gives the radio back to Jam and says, now, see, you've got proof. Now let all the hostages go. And Daniel's like, no. Jam threatens again that he's going to kill them. But Daniel says that if he lets the hostages go, then they're all going to be dead. So still no. Jam is very surprised that Daniel's not just willing to let them go. He and Cicero have a little back and forth. Jam assumes that the rebels must be sending somebody to rescue all of those people, so he asks Cicero if he's any good with a gun, but Cicero is not. So Jam gives him a gun anyway, and he's going to have Cicero stay here, guarding the rebels. Meanwhile, he himself is going to go down the hallway to get the drop on the rebel friend whenever they get here. Then he moves down the hallway, and it reminded me very much of the scene with Kronk when he's trying to be sneaky as he takes the Emperor out of the city.
Yes.
Because his discreet moves were not very good.
Jam would definitely do his own theme music.
I'm sure he was in his head. I was just hearing the Kronk theme music in my head as he was doing this.
Oh, he's doing his own theme music?
Cicero apologizes to everybody and gives them their guns back as soon as Jam is out of sight. And tells them that he never would have killed you guys, which they've already figured that out at this point. But Mitchell does say they can't have him running around here, so he's gonna go take care of things. So Mitchell catches up to Jam in whatever other hall he's been waiting for. He comes out from some corner and yells, "Disarm rebel dogs," even though there is not actually anyone out in front of him.
I think he was practicing.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's right. That makes sense. But Mitchell and Vala have snuck up behind him, which he did not realize. Mitchell says that he left himself wide open from behind, and that was a mistake. And he is saying this to Vala, but in clear earshot of Jam, who is very startled to realize that they are right behind him.
Oops.
Whoops.
In the party room, Teal'c lets Daniel know that one of the hostages is a nurse and she was able to stabilize the guard, so at least that guy's not gonna die. Elsewhere in the room, the Chancellor talks to some of the other hostages and tells them that he thinks these men are not rebels, but common thieves. So if we all get up and rise up against them, and Teal'c just zats him. And the screaming woman screams again.
Please remain calm.
So annoying.
Teal'c tells her to remain calm, and she stops screaming because Teal'c is intimidating. Meanwhile, Mitchell and Vala have taken Jam back to the neck with a bomb, and they're all like, hey, where'd Cicero go? I don't know. Jam's like, you killed him. What did you do with his body? Mitchell's like, shut up. He's fine. And Jam calls them filthy rebel scum. It's just so funny. This guy is just in his own world here, and it's so funny.
It really is.
Vala asks Jam where his access card is to get through the security system. He's like, it's hidden away in a place you'll never find. So she reaches into his front pocket and pulls it out. She swipes it, but there's a code that's needed. So she asks for that too. And he is like, no, this is a rare, priceless artifact, and I'm not going to let you steal it. Do whatever you want. I'll never tell. And Mitchell is like, it's not an artifact. It's a bomb, and we need the power source from the bomb. And the sooner we get it, the sooner everyone can leave. Cool? And Jam's like, you'll have to kill me first. So Vala and Mitchell exchange a look, and then Vala starts pushing buttons on the bomb. And Jam's like, what's going on? And she says she's activating it. Because if they can't have that device, they have no reason to live. Which Mitchell agrees to. They guess it'll take out not only the whole building, but everything within a few miles. And they said, and Mitchell says, all because he wouldn't give us the code. Shame. Jam finally relents and puts in his code, and the gates go up. So yay. Nobody's going to blow up. Except Vala can't turn the bomb off.
Oops.
And Mitchell's like, you actually turned it on? What the hell? And Vala's like, well, I had to make it look good, and also I need to make sure it worked, so here we are. Mitchell wants to know how long they have until the bomb goes off. Vala says, an hour, give or take a few minutes. So great. More problem.
Awesome.
Yeah. Mitchell and Vala have JM help them carry the Nakoda bomb in the giant box it comes in into the gate room. Vala says that once they interface the bomb with the gate, it'll probably deplete the power source anyway, so it'll be fine. They won't explode.
Yeah. What could go wrong there?
It's going to be fine. And they have 50 minutes. It's going to be fine.
Give or take. We get a brief scene of Cicero entering a security code into a keypad, and then he heads outside with his arms up, where, of course, there are a bunch of armed people waiting around. And he steps outside. Then we're back with Daniel. They are monitoring the security system on a laptop.
Yeah.
Somehow. And are wondering why a door on the south side just opened up. And they're able to see on a camera that Cicero has gone out there. He's being forced to lie down on the ground because, of course, the armed people out there don't exactly know his role in this whole thing. And Teal'c and Daniel want to know why the hell Cicero's trying to escape when they thought that he was on their side. Daniel gets on the radio and tells Mitchell about this. Mitchell is also very surprised. JM thinks it's funny that Cicero just slipped right through their fingers. But Mitchell tells him that he was working with us. How do you think we got our guns back? JM, though, doesn't believe him.
Cicero is now with Quartus, trying to tell him this is all just a huge misunderstanding and that the ring is a giant Stargate. You know, the usual. And he says they don't know anything about our world. And Quartus is like, yeah, but they made demands that proves otherwise. And Cicero's like, I told them to say that. He keeps pleading with Quartus. They just need some time. They just need their friends to contact them and then they'll be able to leave. Quartus is alarmed that more people are coming. And Cicero is like, but look at this great opportunity we have. Communicating with beings from another world. Greatest day in the history of our planet, maybe. Quartus doesn't seem to be buying it, but even if he is, it's probably not the best news.
Yeah. Back in the museum, Vala is working on the bomb. Daniel calls them on the radio to say that he's starting to get a bit worried, but of course, Mitchell points out they are all starting to get a bit worried. More specifically, Daniel's concern is about the fact that Quartus has been checking in with him every 10 minutes, but it's been 20 minutes now, so what the hell's going on out there? Daniel asks how things are going on their end, and Vala says she thinks she's got it taken care of? Maybe? She says that there's a 70% chance that if they try to dial the gate manually, that they'll be able to establish a connection, and a 50% chance that the bomb will just go off. Because she's got it connected to a whole bunch of leads and connected to the gate. And Mitchell points out that that is 120%, and she's like, well, there's some crossover. It could do both. Daniel says, so that means it's a 100% chance that we should have brought someone who knows what they are doing.
That's right, guys. Never go anywhere without Sam.
Right? Seriously. So I guess they're going to try dialing it anyway, despite those terrible odds?
Yeah.
Because that's what they start working on next.
Outside, we learn that the Viceroy has denied all demands from these fake rebels, and they have to end this now.
Dun, dun, dun.
Vala and Mitchell continue their manual dialing, while JM is asking if this is a bomb, what does it do, why is it lighting up? He's freaking out, so Mitchell goes over and puts a piece of tape over his mouth. Which they both agree, Vala and Mitchell, that it is much better now that he can't talk.
Including Councilman Jam.
What? No. You can't do that.
It says right there, you're dead.
Indeed.
We see that outside, armed men are gathering to rush the building, to take the building by force. Teal'c sees that and tells Daniel they're about to have company. And Daniel's like, we need radios to Vala and Mitchell to be like, we have to get out of here right now. Which fortunately, just in time, they've dialed the last chevron and Vala pulls Mitchell out of the way just in time to miss him being feet shoes.
Oh, how convenient!
Outside the museum, we see the soldiers rushing in. Daniel can hear beeping on the laptop, which is the indicator of them coming. Mitchell tells Teal'c and Daniel to fall back to the gate. They have a connection, so that's some good timing.
Indeed.
Daniel thanks everybody for their patience and suggests that they stay on the floor where they are with their hands up until the police figure out that they are not all bad guys. We hear glass breaking down the hallway, and soldiers begin coming in. Daniel and Teal'c run out of the room. More soldiers rappel down and, of course, go running after Daniel and Teal'c.
I feel like they were not very concerned about the safety of the hostages.
They did not seem to be, no.
They just rush in, break a bunch of glass, and start firing.
Yep. Yeah, not really concerned about them at all, apparently. Everybody tries to make it for the gate before the soldiers can catch up with them, but they didn't see the ones coming in from this side. That they didn't even know were there.
Clever girl.
So they are stopped. And then Cortus comes in and rips the tape off of Jam, who tells them about the bomb that is set to go off. But Vala says it's just connecting a wormhole to the gate, so it's depleted. There's no threat of bomb anymore. No worries. Jam tells him not to believe them, but Mitchell realizes that Cortus is not acting as he should if he thought that they were actually a threat. So he realizes that Cicero did go out and talk to them, as we know that he did. Cortus confirms that he told them who he thinks they are. And Cicero is apparently also there. Daniel assures them that they never wanted to hurt anybody. They just want to go home. They just needed to get the ring powered, and now they've got that, so just let us out of here, and everything will be fine. But Cortus says that he can't allow that. Mitchell says that he knows what they've all been going through, and they've been going through a bunch of crap in here. He understands the fear that people might come in from another planet and threaten to kill everybody because, of course, that is what they're dealing with over on Earth, too. And he tells them that this was not his ideal first contact with them. They would normally do it better than this. He swears that they're usually pretty good at this, but this one just happens to be their worst first contact by far. And Mitchell also suggests, though, that Cortus not let this first foray into interplanetary relations be a violent one, because they're peaceful people. Cicero chimes in on their behalf and says that it's the future of their people to be communicating with people on other planets. Quartus is finally moved by these pleas and tells everybody to lower their weapons. Mitchell gets on the radio and tells SGC that they are returning early. They're transmitting their iris codes. JM is incredulous that everything that they were saying was true. And he says, I don't believe it. And Cortus says, neither will anybody else. But calls JM a hero for what he at least was trying to do. JM and Cicero are both surprised to hear Cortus say that. And Cortus continues on that, yeah, of course, 4 rebels attacked Private Party. You foiled their plan and you killed them all, and now everything's fine. Everything's fine. Cicero is angry that Cortus just plans to cover up the entire thing and not allow people to know that this is a gate and can actually connect to other planets. Cortus says that he could easily say that he saved all but one of the hostages, meaning that he's going to maybe take out Cicero himself. Yeah. So that's neat. But Cicero wants to talk to the Viceroy. So they head out, and I guess we don't really even find out if he ever gets to, because that's the last we see of Cicero.
That's true.
Meanwhile, JM is there delighted that he's a hero, even though Cortus's story about why he's a hero was not real.
JM is very goofy.
Indeed.
And then we're in the SGC at some point, slightly in the future, far in the future, not really sure. Enough time has passed. They've tried to contact this planet twice with no answer. Landry wants to know if it's a problem with the gate. Maybe something Vala did to the gate while she was trying to dial it. Daniel says no. The dialing should have worked, so Teal'c concludes they have buried their gate. Landry's like, they just stuck their heads in the sand even after everything you told them? Like the wild stories about a thing that they didn't think did anything? Yeah, I think that some people would do that, Landry. And Mitchell says maybe they figure they got their own issues to deal with before they start dealing with the issues of the rest of the galaxy. And Landry's like, we don't have that option, do we? And that's the end of the episode.
It is. It was a weird end.
It was a weird end. I also think their conclusion is weird. I think maybe it's just going to take them time to come to terms with what's happening.
Yeah.
Maybe they just did that in the interim while they're trying to figure shit out.
Right. That is entirely possible.
We don't know.
Nope. Did you like the episode?
I did. It was very entertaining, despite my inability to believe they really didn't know the DHG wasn't working before they went there. Everything that happened after was very entertaining. I liked the security guard. I liked, even though it was weird also that Daniel was the one doing all the hostage holding. It was very funny. So yeah, it's just a very light, fun episode. A little strange when it's like one of the last episodes of the series, but I'll take it. How about you?
Yeah, same. It was a really entertaining episode. I thought it was a good episode for pretty much everybody, not just Daniel, as I mentioned before, but I just thought that it portrayed everybody in a good and fun way.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it very much, which was a nice change of pace from most of the recent episodes where I've either been kind of meh about them or just outright not liked them.
Yeah.
But also having a bit of a focus away from the Ori was a nice break.
True.
And away from the whole Merlin weapon thing was a nice break. I'm assuming that within the next 3-4 episodes here, where they're going to start to wrap that up. So I'm thinking that maybe they just wanted one last episode full of levity before they started working on that wrap-up story arc.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, we got to find out what happened with the Ori.
Indeed.
Do we?
So, yeah, enjoying it.
Yeah.
Enjoyable episode.
Yeah. Will the next episode be enjoyable?
Potentially. Stargate Atlantis, Season 3, Episode 16, The Ark. According to TVDB, the team discovers the last of a civilization in suspended animation whose survival is at risk when their station is critically damaged. Haven't we seen this before?
I don't know. Maybe. It doesn't sound fun, though.
As a plot line. No, we did see it before as a plot line because I remember being impressed at how good Ronan was at counting very quickly all of the stasis pods.
Oh, right. Yes, we've definitely seen people in stasis before on a damaged ship. Yeah.
But anyway, according to IMDb, the team boards a crippled space station to discover people have been preserved there with the hope to outlive their enemy, the Wraith.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
We'll see how this one differs from previous frozen people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right.
Thank you so much for listening to Stargatesing with Kathy and Mary. Our fully listener-supported program couldn't be done without you. Show your support by telling everyone you know how awesome this show is. Find us at stargatesing.space. Reach us by email, stargatesing@gmail.com. Find us on social media at Blue Sky. Get some merch, tinyurl/stargatesing. And finally, show your financial support at patreon.com/stargatesing. Thank you for traveling through the gate with us. Catch you next time on Stargatesing with Kathy and Mary.
I'm Kathy.
I'm Mary.
And you've been listening to Stargatesing. The end.
The end. We get a brief scene of Cicero entering an access code into a keypad. I don't know why I said keypad.
I don't know.
It sounded more